of like Midnight Madness live, and I brought my pal Star Wars Only. I delayed the stream a little bit because I wanted to jump on his stream, talk with Darth Daddy, the rookie critic. There's a good conversation there that Star Wars Only should, if he will probably keep it up, right? You're going to keep that?
Oh, yes, sir. It should already be up there, I hope.
Yeah, so go check it out for a great – after this. So we're going to talk about all the chaos that is in movie talk right now. And I have to – the trending thing to do right now is to crap on Marc Fernandez for canceling all these shows. But I think we have to give him a little bit of credit for one thing, he went on live to explain his decision. And I think movie talk as a whole right now, even though there's great discussions here, to keep a roster of that many personalities is a hard thing to do, especially with the competition. Now, capitalism is great, but you also have to see the market is not getting, there's not a bigger market. It's not growing that much. It's just being shuffled around from channel to channel. And also movies. Let's talk about movie talk. Movies, it's basically a Disney show right now at the theaters. I mean, there's other nice bright spots in there, but not much. More focus is going towards streaming in the future. He probably has inside knowledge of the way the industry is going, and to do a constant uphill battle to compete with people that used to be on Collider, like John Campea and the Schmoes know with Christian Harloff. It's unfortunate people lost their jobs, but the reality is it's just not there. I mean, I think right now the way it's going to have to go is, yes, movie talk will still exist on YouTube, but more like collabing, and just like we're doing here is I'll be on your show, you be on my show. To keep a whole roster of personalities is a difficult task in today's environment with the movie industry as a whole, the way it's going to streaming, and the competition out there. With the competition is created from some of the former Collider employees. And my main point now is people are like, yeah, John Campea went hard on Marc Fernandez this week because I don't know if you saw the videos about that Star Wars Only. He really criticized them for canceling all these shows.
Yeah, I saw the one where he talked about the tweets that the guy replied to Ken with, where he was basically saying, something along the lines of like, it's unfortunate that just now the YouTube audience is showing support when you're canceled. And, I mean, he's being a dick about it. And
right.
It's one of those things where you're like, hey, people just lost their jobs. It's after the holidays. It's a new year. It's a new decade. And they just lost their jobs, and you're being kind of an asshole about it. And what's weird is that, he deleted the tweet, I believe, but he hasn't apologized for it. And I believe and I know we're probably going to watch it today in a minute, but the video that I saw, even the CEO of the company didn't apologize for those kind of comments. And so it's one of those things where you look at the audience who really, and the fans that are really what builds up these kind of small communities and keeps these teams and companies going. It's kind of sad to see that it feels like they're almost abandoning that audience and slapping them in the face as well. And I believe, and I'm not even sure it's a surprise to anyone, they've lost thousands of subscribers in the past week or so because of this announcement. It's just, it's a sad situation overall. I feel bad for people like Ken from Collider. I met him in person, and he's a really nice guy, and it's just unfortunate.
Right. I feel he had no other choice, though. I mean, just the way the future movie talk is going, every time they start to regain their audience, and this is, I mean, you can't blame the person for leaving and starting their own show. Every time they get a certain point, a personality leaves Collider and does the same type of show on their own channel, and there goes the audience. So he's not there's a lot of truth in his statement. It's just it was completely tactless and cringy to do that to former employees. But you can also get kind of the mindset where you can kind of see it's revealing because it shows the frustration too. The way the Jack Hine guy is an asshole for the way he said it, but it also shows you the mindset that people were not watching. They were jumping to the other shows that were actually what happened. I watch all these. I'm a Fandom Menace historian. I watch a lot of movie talk, so I've been subscribed, watched these guys for a long time. Every time they left the show, they not only competed with the same type of content, exact same time slot. So that's the right to do it, and I understand why they did it. But then this is the guy, Marc Fernandez. I give him a lot of respect, and he's not getting a lot of respect right now because this actually would have happened 2 years ago without him buying it, and he tried everything to keep these shows afloat and these people employed. So that's the story that a lot of people aren't talking about is he took over and bought it with his personal funds 2 years ago and tried to keep these shows going. And then every time they get to a point where they're starting to get traction again, someone jumps ship. And John Campea, as much as he's criticizing them just because the guy's tweets, he is the one that sold Movie Talk to AMC and Collider. So when things got tough for him, he sold it, and we're all I wanted to make this video because the trending thing to do is crap on Fernandez right now. You have to give him some credit to going out there, try to keep it going. It just wasn't working. Now, I like I know you were different opinion on the deep fakes too. I kind of like it. I am a George Lucas fan just because it's fun. But that's another criticism is he just wants to do that and steer away. It's an uphill battle for Movie Talk right now. We have to all evaluate how we're doing this. And I don't think keeping a stable of a lot of personalities on the payroll is going to work anymore. And the alternative is Christian Harloff and John Campea have now turned into pretty much fan-funded channels. And I'm not against super chats. I'm not against them, but it's mainly their content now is focused on fan funding. And we're going to criticize a guy that went into his pocketbooks to fund these things that now have failed. That's my point of view.
Yeah, and it's a good point. I mean, it costs a lot to have that many people on board. And if he would have came out and kind of just simply said, hey, it's unfortunate these people lost their jobs, and he was singing their praises for a little bit, but it's one of those things where I've never been a big fan of Collider, and I've always found the personalities a little dry in a way. Some would say safe, I guess, where they talk, but they never say anything too outlandish. It's kind of for me a generic, not Hollywood, but just kind of a talk show thing. And it's one of those things where you see them go to other channels and start their own channels, like John Campea. And I've heard that John Campea was kind of the guy who was making Collider what it is and really building it for a while. And then he left and everything changed. And you see that it's almost like building your own little pool and then draining from the main pool that you started in.
Right.
John Campea builds up Collider, he leaves, and people who were fans of him go to his channel and slowly but surely leave Collider. And Christian Harloff, it was kind of one of those things where it was just almost going downhill for a while, and we all kind of saw it coming when Christian Harloff had that big talking debate thing with one of the producers or something about how he didn't get the Galaxy's Edge, and he was like, I've been busting my ass for 5 years being a Star Wars fan or something. And it's like, hey, I get what you're saying, brother, but it's not something you want to have in a live stream. And that blew up for a lot of people, and that was kind of a negative reaction for a lot of people. And so it is one of those complicated things where when it becomes a business and not so much of a passion, and it's one of those things where it starts from a passion, like someone like John Campea, he probably had a passion on making this like the Sports Center, ESPN style of movie talking and everything. He built that from a passion and took it over to his channel because maybe the passion wasn't there, or he was limited on his creative control and his creativity over at Collider, and he got to do it more freely over at his channel. It's one of those things where you have to mix both. And if they would have just come out and said, it cost way too much to have all these people on our payroll, and you guys, while your support is great, it's been diminishing over the years and it's not enough to sustain this group of people, it would have gone a little better than simply saying, oh, we're just going to fire everybody not even on a day's notice, just out of the blue. And, hey, thanks for all your hard work. Enjoy the new decade. Enjoy the new year.
Well, to be fair, I actually, as harsh as it is, I agree with that decision too, because you have to, if you're going to have to do it, let people enjoy their holidays and then pull the band-aid off quick, because 2 weeks of this would have sunk the channel. Every single day would be, why are you letting this happen? People would be sad. It's, if you have to do it, the reality is, if you want your business to continue when they're gone, I think it would have been more damaging if you would have done 2 weeks send off for every single show that he's canceling. Maybe if it was one show, maybe, but he's canceling like 5 shows.
Yeah, and it's probably just from a production standpoint too, on how much it costs to set those up and everything. You know, I mean, I'd imagine it's a lot cheaper to do the deep fakes than it is to have 5 different shows running.
I want to point out a comment here. Echo Base Network. They're asking if you would be willing to get a reaction of the Star Wars sequel trilogy documentary they're releasing on the 18th. They have a trailer up for it now. It's just like a 2-minute take on what your overall thoughts on the trilogy. I don't know if you want to do that later in this stream too, or whatever. I don't want to put you on the spot either, but they're good guys.
I'm a big documentary fan when it comes to. I like to make my own documentaries about Star Wars. Now, is it something that they're making themselves, or just in general?
Yeah, they're getting lots of YouTubers just reactions on the sequel trilogy, their thoughts on it, like 2-minute clips. If you want to do that on your own, or if you want to use this stream as a, they might be able to just clip it out too.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's something I definitely don't mind doing. I'll have to do it within this next week or so. If you guys want to contact me on Twitter or email me or send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll gladly check it out here, the trailer with Max now, or whenever. I like documentaries, mainly when it comes to Star Wars. That's where I kind of, if you guys, for a history lesson real quick, George Lucas was a big documentary guy. It was his first film, and it was something he worked on with Francis Ford Coppola. So I think it's a nice transition to start with filmmaking, at least to start with documentaries and then getting to actual film stuff. So yeah, I'd love to check it out, and thank you for reaching out to me and telling me about it, because those are always fun to watch. Fan-made stuff is always nice.
Sure, and it's including me too. And I left them hanging for a while. I kept forgetting about it, so that's why I owed them to highlight that comment. I think now would be a good time to actually watch. We're not going to watch the whole thing because it's like an hour long. But the most to me, the most relevant 10 minutes that really explains the first part of his live stream was sad. He's talking about having to let people go, but you have to realize and give him props for coming out with. The other thing is, not a lot of companies are willing to, even if you think his apology wasn't good enough, he at least tried. A lot of companies don't do this. So I like Marc Fernandez. Rule of 2 is the one that's going to be hardest for me. That's gone now, because I like Fernandez and Riley together, and I do like who you were saying on Jedi Council.
Christian Harloff.
No.
Ken
Napzok. I like Ken Napzok too. He'll pop up somewhere. But you got this is the other thing that happens with Campea. When Christian left the last time, they were like, "Oh, we all of a sudden decided to do Light Side, Dark Side," which is a series that's exactly like Rule of 2. And this came about so naturally. They announced it as soon as Christian Harloff leaves, and it's like right near the time slot. Every time, I mean, that's the right. You have to make a living. You have to proceed. It's capitalism. But you have to understand, in this clip I'm going to show, is he's like, I love movie talk. But if I keep trying to go in deeper into my pockets, into all these series where someone else is, I think, doing it better, I can't do it. And I can't justify it as a business. And I totally understand that. So that, I think that's where I'll pull up the 10-minute clip. We're going to watch about 10 minutes of it just to get a. I really like this. I like covering movie talk besides just movies, because I watch a lot of. I maybe watch too much. I need to watch more Star Wars Only. Go check out Star Wars Only. Hey, Mod Squad, please send a link to Star Wars Only channel in case someone's here that isn't subscribed to him already. But I think most of you are.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Don't watch too many of my videos though. The further back in time you get, the worse they get. So keep it new. Watch the documentaries. That's about as far as I'll recommend my channel. I don't sing my praises too much.
All right. So let's get this figure here. And I started at the most revealing part to me, and where you really have to understand the man that actually paid for people's salaries for 2 years when it would have been canceled 2 years ago. And John Campea is the one that criticizes him, I think, too harshly when things got tough, he sold Movie Talk. So you have to put that into perspective. This is the guy that tried to keep it going. So hold on a second.
Like I was saying before, what we were doing, both our two biggest shows in Movie Talk and Collider Live, were really the brainchild of other people that are still doing it, and frankly, we're doing it more effectively than us. With John and his show, and Christian and his show, and these are wonderful shows, and I encourage you to support both of them. But for us to compete in that space directly at them just wasn't smart anymore.
I
tried,
agree.
man. Trust me, I tried.
Yeah.
I tried probably a lot longer than I should have. And I saw John's video, and maybe I made some wrong choices in trying to tinker with it to try to make up the views or find new ways to do it. And he's right. It was never about the talent. Perry Nemiroff is incredible. Mark Ellis is incredible. And these folks brought it every single.
Does he link the channels, or does he just talk about them?
Adam Smith behind the Switcher
he just
was
talks
incredible.
about them.
The effort behind the shows was incredible. Could I have been better? Yes. Could I have spent thousands of dollars that I needed to do to revamp the audio in my studio? Yes. Could I afford it? No. Should I have made other things happen? You can question and rethink it a million different ways. But ultimately, the reality and the responsibility that I have to deal with is that I couldn't get it, to work. But it's on me. It's definitely on me and not on them, because they tried their ass off.
It is a sad moment. I do think he gave his best effort to try to keep
Mark
going.
Ellis,
He's doing it professionally, and
above the line.
I do like that.
Our roundtable comedy show,
And at least he's addressing it instead of ignoring it.
And we're going to continue to hopefully do that, and Mark will still hopefully be the host of that. Perry Nemiroff, who is one of the most intelligent, kind, thoughtful people I've ever worked with, is here and pushing forward and doing incredible work, but doing incredible work in lanes that we can own, in lanes that we are the only folks doing it, and that's what we need to focus on things that we bring to the table that other folks, because they don't have my resources necessarily or whatnot, have a tougher time doing it, because they don't have a website that has 15 million uniques a month. That's a beautiful asset that Steve Weintraub has built for the last 15 years. We have a lot of diversified elements in our company.
I might cut it off shortly. I think I got you get a little bit of gist.
There's a great podcast.
Okay, we don't need to watch too much more, but it basically he's saying people were doing it. People that used to even been on this network are doing the same thing. He's giving them props. I think they're doing it better. We can't continue to compete, especially with him going in his pockets to keep everyone on the roster, whereas the other channels have gone maybe fan funded too far. Now, super chats and everything, like Star Wars Only, he was so gracious so happy when someone gave him a super chat on his channel just now. That's a great way to support a creator. But and I know you don't necessarily watch. Oh, let me get this off of here. Watch these guys, Star Wars Only. But their shows now have become like 24-hour. Like John Campea, he keeps his super chat Streamlabs open 24 hours.
Jesus.
And he does like 2 live streams a day that are just he only responds to super chats. And then Christian Harloff, his new network, he has super chats and he has Streamlabs in an interrupting robot comes up. Now you might think that's funny. I hate it because it interrupts the flow of actual conversation just for some crude humor, which is fun sometimes. But $20 and an interrupting robot interrupts the show.
Yeah, definitely not my
Right.
not my vibe. I think that's a little odd and weird. But yeah, like I said earlier, man, I wasn't a big Collider fan. I thought they were just another talk show of people who never had. I mean, they had some cool inside scoops on things, and I like their coverage on Star Wars from time to time. But they never said anything that really enticed me too much. But that doesn't mean they're not good people. And it seems like from what he was saying, it's weird to say that, you know, talent wasn't the issue. It's kind of a production side thing. Well, as a producer and as someone running the company, I think it would have been more ideal to try to keep people like John Campea and Christian Harloff and all these other people still on, even if the numbers aren't doing what they could have been. And you're realizing, you know, John Campea, I know in his video said that one of the big issues, and he would tell his wife, would be it's the production side, it's management. That's something management needs to work on themselves, instead of saying, well, things aren't going well, let's get rid of all the talent who is now draining us. I mean, he's noticed that with Christian and John. It's like, well, why don't you try to keep those guys around so you don't have that big competition? Keep those creative guys, keep those guys who are getting all those fan support on your team, bite the bullet when it comes to pay. And I mean, well, it's one of those things where, you know, competition is great in a capitalist society. But when you're a big major corporation like this, which, I mean, they're not huge, but in YouTube atmosphere, at least, you want to keep these guys around to keep yourself financially sustainable. And it seems like they spread themselves too thin. And that's not something you blame the talent on. That's something you blame the producers and the CEOs on, of where was your game plan going into this?
Just to give you a little backstory, though, I think Campea adds to the conversation, but he is an egomaniac. He basically, when he first left, was the first sign really split the audience hardcore. They wanted to keep him on. They tried to bring him back a few times. He sold Movie Talk to someone else, and then he still, with his ego, he still wanted to have a big say in all the little minute details. There wasn't really big changes after he left. The thing that really split the audience is he attacked the time slot, and they were battling time slots. Every time Campea would change, Collider would change. It was a constant battle. And then Christian Harloff did this type of Collider Live, which is more like crude humor, funny stuff, fart jokes and stuff. People, hey, there's an audience for it. More like an old school Howard Stern show, and that brought the audience back up. And I do think the freak out about Galaxy's Edge was revealing, and I love that moment in Movie Talk, because it finally admits the issue of access media and the power that Disney has. They don't even offer you much, and the little they do have so much control over you. And Collider was giving little criticisms to Disney, and it's not a coincidence that they weren't giving. They gave invitations for everyone to Galaxy's Edge. So that was another revealing moment. But I actually, and even though this same guy came on, it's like, I stand by Christian, he's still going to be. I think that was the end of Christian being on Collider. I think he's like, I'm going my own way after that. It's a sad moment because I like Movie Talk. I think it's a revealing moment not to just criticize Collider for anyone else in the game right now. And I'll mention my pal Jeremy with Geeks and Gamers. You have to learn from this, that don't go too big because it's not sustainable. And I think he's doing it a smart way. He brings people on. I don't think he's got he doesn't have salary people like this. He just has people on his team and working on his website, writing articles. But I think Movie Talk is not sustainable this big anymore. And if they still try to do it, like with what Campea and Christian Harloff are doing, it's going to come at the cost of the fans. Big corporations aren't going to front out the money. It's going to be exactly like what you're getting with the Schmoes Network, where constant tip cups, which tipping is fine. I'm not against it completely. I'm going to create another topic. Has movie talk become fan funded too far? And I'll do that on my own on a separate video. I thought it was worth discussing. I wasn't going to stay too long on it. What are you working on this week? I know you have some videos on. I got to check out your channel. We just did a live stream.
Yes, sir. It was a good live stream. Good about an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know. The news cycle for Star Wars isn't too explosive, I guess, at the moment. I mean, we're just kind of waiting for things to happen at this point. When the Clone Wars comes out, that'll be interesting. I'm gonna make a video, I think tomorrow or the day after, about the box set for the Skywalker saga. It's like $250 though for all 9 films. Yeah, no, fuck that, dude. That's a lot of money. And then I'll talk about like if the Rise of Skywalker should have been a part 1 and part 2 kind of film, because that's what the writer Chris Terrio was talking about. And before I leave for my trip, I want to make a top, well, not top 10. I want to, top 9, I guess, or just basically ranking the Star Wars films from worst to best in my own personal order. I don't know why everyone loves those videos so much. That's like a video everyone always wants to do with any person who's involved with Star Wars, is rank the films. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, might as well. If you guys want it, might as well do it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I gotta check out some of your documentaries. I haven't watched a lot of them, and I keep hearing about them. I gotta really go back and check that out. And
they're my most popular videos.
Right, I gotta check it out. I like talking to you. I watched some of your shorter videos. I haven't really delved into you've got a lot of hidden gems on your channel with those documentaries. I gotta get some time and watch one of those. I
recommend it, man.
I am looking forward to the Clone Wars. Did you say around like what time frame it's going on Disney Plus?
February 17th is the official release date. It's a Monday. So I don't know. I know they're going to release it weekly. I don't know if they're going to do. I remember with the Mandalorian, like they had one come out on November 12th, and then another one on November 15th, like 3 days later, and then they start doing it weekly. I'm not sure if that's the plan for the Clone Wars, but I know it starts on a Monday, and there's going to be 12 episodes. So it's not going to be like the Mandalorian where we're done with it in 2 months. This is going to be like a 3-month-long venture, which I think is good for Star Wars fans because the Mandalorian comes out in fall. So it keeps us kind of constant in the Star Wars community of having content to watch. And I think that's a good mindset. Disney Plus kind of seems like the place to be for Star Wars content right now.
And when The Rise of Skywalker comes out, I will eventually do a review from a boycotter's perspective.
Yeah, and then I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, and then hopefully we could collab at that time too to see how mad I get. I have a feeling that's besides wanting to send a message, that's the other half of the reason. I was just like, I don't want to be mad again about Star Wars. I'm happy now. Why am I going to risk it? I'm so happy with The Mandalorian. I'm happy that Clone Wars is coming back. I hope they do another animated series too. I know Filoni is busy. I hope he doesn't just go in the live action, because I like the animated series too. You could take more risks there sometimes with the stories than live action. Do a little bit more crazy things. I got to go back and watch the Lost Missions of the Clone Wars. I don't think I've finished that.
Oh, those are so good.
Oh, really?
6, yeah. And word on the street is actually that in 2020, this year, they're actually developing a new animated series that's taking place after Star Wars Rebels. So
yes,
with Ahsoka and Ezra and Thrawn. So
please,
something in 2021. It might be a good time.
Yeah, that's what I want. I love the animated series. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Something I didn't get to when we were on your live stream is I hope Disney ever lots of people are getting into the EU, like you said, because Ryan Kinnell. I do think there is a future for EU movies, but I think there has to just be a strong marketing to differentiate it, like they were doing the Star Wars story movies, like Rogue One. Just do a EU story, and then you can have some really crazy movies, fun content. But you might differ in opinion on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it from a marketing standpoint, just because I think it would really confuse the audience. If it's I mean, we diehard Star Wars fans would understand, hey, this has no relation to the actual story. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea though to do it in like a live action sense where you have like we could do like a Knights of the Old Republic trilogy, but actually an animated version or something. That wouldn't be a bad idea, just to say, hey, this has no impact on the actual story. This is a story fans love. So here's kind of, just something fun, I guess, for fans. I mean, you look at the Clone Wars micro series that came out in 2003. It's like 2 episodes that are 30 minutes each, and they're really fun, but they're not canon, but they're fun. I mean, I enjoy them.
Yeah, sorry, I forget what I'm doing. I forget to look at the chat sometime. Thanks for being here, everybody. I try to do these really short streams just to have a personality on. Like, I love talking to Star Wars only, just so it's low pressure. Come in, talk about a subject. I appreciate everyone coming on. I think we're just going to end it now. I hope to collab with you in the future too. Even if it's not just Star Wars, but if you want Star Wars only, I know the channel.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I think we're going to say goodbye now. Thanks, everyone. All right, I'm ending it now.